Shall we begin?
Let's begin now.
Hi everybody, it's Doreen, and I'm back today with a birthday card. So now, the cartridge that we will be using today is the Wrap It Up cartridge. So what does our card look like? This is the card we will be making, and actually it is a simple card, but there does involve a lot of embellishments to add to the card. So come on and join me, and I'm going to show you how you can make this flip and fold card. Okay everybody, so we're bringing up our supplies so we can get started making our card. Now, this card is what is known as a flip-flop or flip-fold card. And I've seen this on previous YouTube channels, and I was going to make it myself. But while at the CHA Super Show last year, I picked up this die that allows you to make the flip-flop card, as they're calling it, without having to do any measuring and cutting and so forth. You only basically need to cut your card itself, or your card stock, to fit your die. So basically, you're going to take a 6 3/4 by 5 1/2 inch piece of cardstock, and you will place your template that comes with the die, and I'm going to get that out, on the edge of your card here, or your cardstock. And this cardstock is just some of the Joann Fabrics texture cardstock. You will place it like so, and then you'll place your die, butt that up against that plastic template that I laid down, and then you run it through your Cuttlebug Big Shot or your Vagabond. And then what you'll get once you've done that is your flip fold, like so. So it's a lot easier than measuring here, cutting, measuring here and cutting, measuring here and cutting, and so forth, or scoring. So I really like this die, and I actually forgot that I had purchased it until I saw the card on a YouTube channel, and I thought, wait a minute, I purchased that. Something that would make it a lot easier for me to do this. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start adding my embellishments and so forth so we can get the card finished. So what I've done, and we're going to do it on this side, is I've cut out some pieces of cardstock or paper to layer on my card. Now, the paper that I'm using is from this paper pack by Recollections. It's called Garden Florals, and I picked this up at Michael's, and I like this because it's 8 1/2 by 11, and I can use this for top layers of cards and for my envelopes. And I have made an envelope to go with this card. So what this piece measures is 1 1/4 by 5 1/4, and what I've done is taken and inked my edges using the new Squeeze Lemonade Distressed Ink by Tim Holtz. And I got this as a birthday gift from Skylar. So we're gonna line this up and put that piece there, and then we'll put our other piece on the other side. So I'm going to just dig out my Tombow for this. I don't think we need to bring out the ATG gun because this is such a small piece. And we'll lay out our first piece. And I want to make sure. Oh, and I didn't say earlier, the other thing that I've done is, because I didn't want to leave this blank on the other side, I don't know if you'll be able to see that, I decided to emboss it for the back side. and I use the, see, I believe this is called the Flowers and Floral Cut-A-Bug folder. So it looks like this. So let's add our piece along here. And I'm going to leave that. Kind of wanted that down a little further, but that's okay. We'll leave it like that. So now let's get some tape on our other piece. And we'll add this. And hopefully I'll be able to get these two to line up. I think actually one is longer than the other. It is. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take 1/8 of an inch off of here so that I can make those two line up together. And actually I'm not going to use the paper trimmer. I'm just going to eyeball this and snip off 1/8 of an inch. And there we go. Close enough, as I do not like to measure. So now let's continue on, and we're going to just start doing all of our layers. So now I've cut some squares that are 1/8, 1 1/8 by 1 1/8, and those will be placed in between here on each section, like so. And I've also gone ahead and inked the edges using the Tim Holtz Squeeze Lemonade. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get all these lined up and taped down, and then I'll come back and we'll continue adding our embellishments. Okay everybody, so now I'm back and I've added all of my layers to my card. So now we're going to work on the center. So now our card will fold like this. So let's start adding our center embellishment. And what we're going to do is we're going to add our cake. So now the cake itself is from the Wrap It Up cartridge. And it is on page, I believe it is page 31, and the cake itself looks like this. So now this is once again with the Wrap It Up cartridge. If you're going to be using this one, it's a lot of paper piecing, so if you don't like doing paper piecing, you might not like this cartridge, but I do recommend it because it has something in here for every holiday and every occasion that you might need a card. So it kind of works like the Art Philosophy cartridge. It's really good. So what we're going to do is we're going to put our card to the side for a minute because we need to put our cake together. So now I've cut the cake, the first layer, at 2 3/4 inches, and you will leave your aspect ratio on and you will leave the real dial size off. So let's go to that cartridge and we're going to choose key number 11, and it looks like this. Now if you want to cut this separate, a different color, then you can go through and do your hide contour and hide the pieces you don't want. But I went ahead and cut it out using some scrap cardstock that I got that they were throwing away at work. So I've cut both pieces the same color. And now the next layer you're going to lay down is you're going to lay down what is basically your top layer, because your bottom layer is going to be this color. I'm sorry, your top layer is going to be this color. Although you could just stop right here and lay this down, put this down as your bottom, and then put this on as your top. It's up to you how you want to do that. But I'm going to do some paper piecing here. So my next layer, which would be this one right here, is also cut at 2 3/4 inches, and it is also key number 11. So what you're going to do is hit your shift key and key number 11, and you'll get the next layer. So, and this is just some scrap cardstock, or actual paper that I had left over from a previous card, and it is from this paper pack called Antique Dots, which looks like this. So I'm going to zoom back just a little bit for a minute. Okay, so now I'm just going to get some tape on here, and we're going to put this down. So we'll get our tape on, and we'll line this up, and we'll place this down here. And there we have. So now you could leave it like that if you want it, and that could be your cake. But as I said, I'm going to be doing some paper piecing. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to change the way my bottom layer looks by adding this piece. Now what I've done for this, I think it goes this way, is I just cut this out in some cream color cardstock, and then I inked it with the squeezed lemonade distress ink. So that is also cut at 2 3/4 inches, and that is going to be your layer button and key number 11. So it'll look like this. And once again, you cut that at 2 3/4 inches, or 2.75. So now we'll add that to our card. I'm sorry, to our cake. And we'll just place that down. Like so. So now, once again, you could leave it like this if you like. So now, let's start adding our lace pieces. So now remember, I cut this out when I cut this layer right here. So what I'm going to do with this is I want to place this down here, like so, and then the top layer, which I cut with some cream color cardstock, and I inked it with the squeezed lemonade, that layer is going to go along here, like so. So that's your cake piece together. So this, we already know, was cut at 2 3/4 because this cut out when we cut the bottom layer of the cake. And this also was cut at 2 3/4. So now on your gypsy or your overlay, or if you're using the Cricut craft room, you're going to hit the layer button, the shift lock button, and key number 11. And that's how you get your top lace piece, and you'll also get your candles if you want to make your candles a different color, which I did. So I did cut this all out using cream color cardstock, and then I inked it with the squeezed lemonade. So now let's get some glue on here, and we'll use the Tombow adhesive, and we'll get all of our pieces added. So now I'm going to get some glue everywhere on here, and then we'll add it to our card. I mean our cake. I keep saying card. We haven't done anything yet to add to the actual card. So I want to make sure I'm putting this in the right direction. And I guess it really doesn't matter. You can line it up the way you want. and then I'm going to press down. So now I'm going to add my top one by doing the same thing. Getting some glue on here. And I'll take my tweezers and then I'll add this to my top layer. I'll slide that over and then I'm going to press down. So there it is. There is our cake. So now I'm going to put the cake on this side because I want to leave myself enough room so that when the card folds, it folds like so. So I'm going to lay this down, and I'm thinking I'm going to put it as close to the edge as I can, like that. But before I do that, I did cut out a layer to go here in the middle, and then once I put this on, I think I may have to score it. I'm not for sure. But this piece measures 2 3/4 by 2 3/4 by 3 3/4, and that is going to go right there. So let's once again get some tape on here. And I'm just putting it around sporadically. And I have inked my edges, and I'm going to line it up and place it down. So actually works fine. We don't have to do any scoring. Okay, so now let's see, because once again I didn't go over far enough. So I'm going to pull this up. You get to see my mistakes again, and I'm going to pull that off, and I'm going to reline this up again. I'm trying to get this so it's just a 1/4 inch away from the edge. Okay, so now we can add the cake over here in the corner. So what I want to do to add my cake is I want my cake to pop up. So I'm going to put some dimensionals on the back. And actually I think I'm going to use my foam tape and get a piece down there. Let's pull this up. And I probably need to change over my paper too, because I'm getting sticky over there. So let's get our tape on there, and I'll remove the backing, and then we're going to add this to our card. So I'm going to bring my card back, and I'm going to add the birthday cake right there. So now let's see how that works. So then it opens like so. And the next thing I want to add is I'm going to add my little roses up here, because I've made some embellishments to go in the small squares. Now the roses themselves are from the My Favorite Things mini roll die, and I'll put a link down below where you can purchase that. So we're going to just put this on. And then I've also cut out or punched out my cupcake from the Martha Stewart cupcake punch. So I'm going to put one of those right here. And I am going to pop this up, but I'm just laying this out for right now. And then I have this little flower that comes from my Spellbinders die. This is the pennants. And it looks like this. So I'm going to place that right here. and then I'll do the same thing from the bottom. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and get everything added, and then I'll be back. Okay, everybody, so now I finished up the inside of my card. So the only thing left that I'm going to do is I'm going to add some bling along in here, and I'm going to do that all at once because I'm going to put the bling also on the front of the card. I finally got a card, I can add some bling to it. So now what we're going to do next is we're going to work on the front portion of the card. And one thing I wanted to mention is when I punched out the Martha Stewart cupcake punch, what I decided to do was also run that through my embossing folder, which is the floral leaves folder. So now let's flip this over and work on the other side. And I probably should have not glued those on, but it'll still work out. So I once again took another piece of paper that measures 2 3/4 by 3 3/4 and place that on this side. And the next thing I'm going to add is I've cut out this greeting or saying that's in the from the wild card. I'm sorry, not the wild card, from the Wrap It Up, and it is on page 51, and it's this phrase right here. Now the candle does cut separately, and I have done something different with the candle. I've made the candle similar to the candle here, but what I wanted to talk about was this does cut out very fine, as you can see, and I was able to cut it out using my Cricut. And what I've used is just some cream color cardstock, and I then went ahead and inked it with the Squeeze Lemonade. So now, because this is actually going to be the front, I'm only going to put the year older, and I'm going to break off the 1 and put the 1 up here because I also want to put my candle. So I'm going to take my scissors as soon as I can find them. So I found my scissors, and I'm just going to cut off the 1. I'm going to make sure I don't cut everything else. So we're going to cut the 1 off, and we're going to place the year older right there. So I'm going to get some glue on here, and this is, like I said, very, very fine. So you need to be very careful when you're adding your glue, or you can run it through your Xyron. But you'll have to be careful when you do that too, because like I said, it's very, very fine. And I'm going to get out my tweezers so I can put this down the way I want it. So I'm going to add that. I'm going to put the word older down first. Make sure we have that down, and then we'll adjust the word year. And I'm not sure because if you're going to be able to see that because it mixes in with the color of the paper, but trust me, it's there, and you actually, if you're looking at it in person, it does show up very clearly. So now I'm going to put the word 1 right here. So I'm going to once again get some glue on the back, and I'm just dotting it on, and I'm then going to take my tweezers and put the word 1 down. I'm going to put the word 1 right there, and I need to straighten this out a little bit, and there we have it. So now we can talk about the size that I cut this at. So now, as I said, it is on page 51, and it is the phrase, 1 more year. So what you'll do on your gypsy or your overlay or if you're using the Cricut Craft Room or the Expression tool, you're going to do the same thing. I cut that out at 2 3/4 inches. Now I did not touch the aspect ratio and I didn't touch the real dial size. So I want to go to that one, and that is going to be key 31. So you'll hit your phrase key, and key 31. So it looks like this. And as I said, the candle does cut separately, even though they're together right here. So then, what I've done is for my candle, I hid the candle that does come with the 1 more year. I hid this candle and did not cut this one out. What I did, is I went ahead and laid out this candle right here, and that is going to be key 31. And it will look like this. So what I cut that at was also 2 3/4 inches. So then once I had that one cut out, I then went and cut the top layer here, which is going to be candle S, which is your shift key. So what you'll do is you'll lay out another candle, and let me get there, and you'll hit your shift key and key 31, and you're going to get this. So I put that together, and then I wanted to do some layering, and as I said, this is all paper piecing, so I wanted my candle to be layered with these little embellishments on top of there. So I've cut those out, and that is cut at 2 3/4 inches. So what you'll do is you'll hit your layer button and your shift lock button, and you'll get this, and you'll cut that at 2 3/4 inches. And then the next thing you want to cut is, I wanted to get the flame, so I hit my layer button again and 31, and there's my flame. So now, once I had all this cut out, I went ahead and pieced it together. And it is all cut at 2 3/4 inches. The other thing that I did was, I went ahead, and I've already glued that top layer on, and I then took some glitter and put glitter on it. So now the only thing left to do is add this piece to this piece. And this was cut with some cream color cardstock and then inked with the squeezed lemon. And my little sparkles, or okay, I hope my glue pen hasn't dried out. Nope, there it goes. My little sparkles were cut from scraps left over from the cake, the top layer of the cake. So we're just going to put these down here on top of here, and then we'll be ready to add our candle. Now I think I'm going to put my candle here because I can't fit it right there, so I'm just going to add it over here. I originally thought I wanted it to go there, but as I can't put it there because it's too big. So the other thing we'll do is we're going to pop this up. So I'm going to add some dimensionals on the back, and I'll put one right at the flame, and then we'll add that to the card. And then basically our card is done except for the bling that I want to add. So I'm going to place that right there. So there you have the card. So it opens like so. So now I'm going to go ahead and add all of my bling, and then I'm going to come back with the finished card. And before I forget, what I did do in the inside is I put a best wishes right here, and this stamp is from the Teeny Tag Greetings by My Creative Time, and I'll put the link to the website that you can purchase this on in the description bar. So let me go ahead and add my bling, and then I'll be back with the finished card. Okay, everybody, I am back with my finished card, and I've got my bling on my card. So this is what I've done. I put some bling in the center of the flowers from the paper on the card, and then on the inside, when you open it, I took the spellbinder dies that were the flowers, and I added some bling inside the little circles that were within the flower. So I'm going to bring this up so you can see it. So that's it. That's my finished birthday card. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye.